To all those that have had a great day, congratulations. And to those that have lost their loved ones, may their souls rest in eternal peace. My name is Sharon Chomjisha with
Odiloma Kanold
and Nakakuni Elizabeth on Sign Language. Welcome to UBC News Tonight. Let's take a look at the headlines. Museveni educates UPDF on NRA principles.
SACCO to help teachers start business.
Boeing cuts 737 MAX output in wake of 2 deadly crashes.
And in sports, Joshua Cheptegei named 2018 USPS Sports Personality.
Well, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has told officers and men of the Uganda People's Defense Forces that as the UPDF was the forerunner of the principles of the National Resistance Army, they, as preachers, should endeavor to exercise those principles.
General Museveni, who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda Armed Forces, was addressing officers and men of Single Military and Peace Support Operations and Training Center, Single Military Barracks in Nakaseke District, after he made the inspection of the facility.
The President called upon Army officers to learn, understand, internalize and apply the principles of NRA wherever they are deployed. He enumerated those principles as patriotism, Pan-Africanism, unity and democracy. He told UPDF soldiers that the army in which they serve is a national liberation force.
The president said that colonialism had made the country dependent on the British economically, politically, socially and militarily, adding that this state of affairs had been enforced through the colonial army.
He revealed that other challenges such as political and traditional fragmentation, the stupidity of looking down on women, male chauvinism, sectarianism and social underdevelopment had largely stagnated Africa and rendered the continent underdeveloped.
However, the president noted that the moves have been made to solve those challenges through working for economic integration, and it would bring about prosperity to the people.
He therefore stretched that the army also had a role to play in teaching farmers to shift from subsistence farming and embrace modernized, profit-oriented agriculture. General Museveni advised UPDF soldiers to always train, herd and be confident of themselves in their calling to serve and protect wananchi.
His Excellency also advised them to lead responsible, disciplined lives free of alcohol consumption, smoking and promiscuity. He observed that the indiscipline in life would not only lead to immature death, but also to a loss of their families and the country as well.
He encouraged the army to always make sure that places where soldiers intend to camp are fumigated to keep at bay ailments such as malaria.
On the way from Kampala at Matuga Trading Center in Wakiso District, President Museveni directed his personal medical doctor to fully examine a 4-month-old baby after the toddler's father, Seranja Tony, requested the president to assist him save his child, who is said to have a problem of the heart.
Now, Uganda Law Society has named Constitutional and Court of the Appeal Justice Egonda Ntende as the new chairperson of the Uganda Law Council. The president of Uganda Law Society, Simon Peter Shinobe, who says Ntende will be replacing Justice Remi Kasule, urges lawyers to stick to ethics of the profession. This was in Entebbe during the annual general meeting of Uganda Law Society, where members called for independence of justice of Judicial Service Commission in recruitment of judges.
Lawyers, under their umbrella organization, Uganda Law Society, have underscored the need for independence of the Judicial Service Commission. The call comes as the Commission is in advanced stages of recruiting 8 judges, 5 for High Court and 3 for the Court of Appeal.
Our representation on the Commission was to ensure that the appointment process is watched for and on behalf of not only the society, but the Ugandan public.
But at the point when the JSC member writes to the President and Council, that level of transparency, I think we shall interrogate and agree as a law society. Do we come, all of us here? Is it Council? Is it Council and some members? You know, I think that is what needs to happen. But that process actually happens. But I think it's the level of transparency that we are interrogating.
These are some of the reasons why The mandate of the Law Council of Uganda in ensuring continuous professional learning for all advocates needs upholding. Perhaps the reason why the Council's leadership requires regular changes, with the latest to assume its chair being Constitutional Court Justice Frederick Egonda Ntende.
I realize there are so many young lawyers who don't understand the impact of what I have said. Let me repeat it. The new chair of Uganda Law Council is Justice Egonda Ntende. I'm hoping that we shall now start delving from the Stone Age to the new era. And I want to thank again, without reservations, the outgoing chair, Justice Remy Kasule. That man has done an amazing job.
With the objective of ensuring constitutionalism and rule of law, lawyers want disciplinary cases before this body conducted in a civil manner.
There is a gentleman called Bruce, and he's a senior counsel. He, in my presence, the way how he was treating lawyers, I came to you and we discussed this, I think, in Mombasa. You have never come to me, or you have never come to us, and I'm told that this thing, it is increasing and it is coming on day by day.
The manner in which you address your colleagues is important.
Yes.
It is important not to point, not to interrupt, to let the person speak and end and finish, and then hear them and then respond.
Okay, thank you.
The annual general meeting of the Uganda Law Society brought together legal brains from several corners of the country and the region. It was also characterized by election of council representative for Northern Uganda.
Vote for me. I know, I understand all your problems. I can only address when you retain me here. And only this year. I don't want more.
I'll listen to you. We may disagree on principle. But when we disagree, I'll listen more and work in your interest. I ask that if time comes, the right candidate for the contemporary leadership is Conrad Oroya.
The race that had two candidates, including incumbent Shamim Amoro and youthful Conrad Obol Oroya, saw the latter emerging victorious. Henry Okrut, UBC.
About 127 teachers' SACCOs from the 255 registered have benefited from the Teachers SACCO Fund under Walimu SACCOs unions that aims at empowering teachers while closing the SACCO's skills training at Chibuli Muslim Teachers College. The Minister of State for Primary Education, Rosemary Seninde, discouraged teachers from using the fund to buy border but engage in simple business that will help improve their welfare at the same time fulfilling their mandate of teaching.
The leadership of Walimu SACCOs Union for Teachers have embarked on equipping teacher SACCOs with hands-on skills to be able to start up small businesses with the aim of getting a side income. At Chibuli Muslim Teachers College, teachers have been equipped with skills of making candles, yogurt, charcoal briquettes and bagia, plus financial management to be able to make and manage money. The Minister of State for Primary Education, Rosemary Seninde, urged the teachers to pass on the same skills to their learners in a way of vocationalizing education and implementing the school curriculum.
This is a very simple thing that you can also try to do at home. You can do it over the weekend, you can do it early morning before you go to class, you can do it even after you come from class, and by the next day, there is something to be sold. And you earn something. But in addition, what is most important, and this I shared with your chairman, that the skills you acquire, the skills you get, please go and teach these things to your children in the schools.
Government has so far disbursed only 14.5 billion from the promised 25 billion shillings of the Teachers SACCO Fund. They also urge public service to put back the codes through which it used to recover this money from the teachers than them going to the bank.
Honorable Minister, we also have another challenge that people are using state offices to disorganize the already stabilized Walimu Circles Union. We have a colleague within the office of the president who is trying to come up with an independent teachers circles union to disorganize us.
According to the registrar, cooperatives, SACCOs have a minimum of 8,000 teachers, encouraging more to join. The registrar, William Chitandwe, advised those making different things to approach UNBS and have their products certified with the quality.
Look at your mass, the numbers. We think you should, at a certain point, get a banking license so that you have your own bank and you manage your own resources. No offense to Centenary Bank, but when you look at our teachers, the fees they're paying to the banks, everything that goes into the running accounts with these other banks, I think you can do it amongst yourselves. So we are really looking forward to a Walimu bank.
Meanwhile, despite the existence of Skilling Uganda program meant to encourage vocational and technical training, people have failed to embrace it. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabenji.
Now, women in the fishing sector have formed an organization that will help them lobby for what rightly belongs to them. During a meeting in Jinja, over 70 women concurred to settle under the National Women Fish Organization. Details follow.
Though most Ugandan lakes witness men do most of the fishing, women play a big but usually subtle role in the fish process to the final consumer. Records show that women contribute about 80% to the process, especially during smoking, processing in factories, and selling. So, to ensure they improve their lobbying ability, especially to benefit from better prices, they have decided to form a national umbrella body, National Women Fish Organization, to help propel their cause.
There is a challenge of marketing right now in Uganda in relation to fish, and we hope we will be able to go through it by expanding our marketing zones. We currently have been trading with Congo, Rwanda, and Sudan, but it has been a fragile market in a way that we had a lot of political instability in Sudan the other time, and now we've had a challenge with Rwanda also, which is political. But I'm very sure with the new markets, we have to go to West Africa, Nigeria, and also we plan to go to the European markets.
This initiative is supported by the Germany government under its development agency, GIZ, and targets all women dealing in fish throughout the country.
You should come here together and you should kind of, amongst yourself, take time to reflect. This Ugandan chapter of the National Women's Fish Processors and Traders Network in Uganda, how are you going to sustain the organization?
Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries promised to help the women achieve their mission.
By the end of this workshop tomorrow, we shall all be conversant and all be supportive of this initiative, because this initiative will strengthen and empower you as individuals for your voice and your aspirations be heard at a continent level.
Reports from the Directorate of Fisheries Resources indicate that Uganda has about 2 million women involved in fisheries sector, but they yet don't have major tasks during the entire process. John Barnes, Centemo, reporting.
The absence of a law to recognize the indigenous Bennett community in this constitution has escalated the situation of their living standards. The Bennett Ndobora expressed are not happy about the delay to resolve their land issues, which has taken decades. They argue that this has led to poor social service delivery. They also want government to resettle them permanently. We have more on this story.
The Bennett community living in the districts of Kwen, Bukwa and Kapchora continue to suffer on socio-economic and cultural grounds.
People are tired of the threats that this is not your land. Anytime we are evicting you, so people cannot even set up a fair structure, a fair semi-permanent house where one can spend a night fairly. People are tired of, and people are living in frustration. People are living in abject poverty. People are not happy with the life they're enjoying here.
This started in 1930 when the British colonial government declared Mountain Elgon a reserve forest. Between 1990 to 2004, the group was evicted to pave way for the creation of Mountain Elgon National Park. In 2005, a High Court order adopted a consent judgment which declared the Bennett were the historical and indigenous inhabitants of the park. However, nothing has been implemented. During a media training in Kapchora district, organized by Bennett Lob Group with support from Voice Best in Netherlands, the Bennett elders said this unsolved issue has worsened the situation.
Bennett woman who is pregnant, either sick, most of the time just dies on the hands of the Bennetts.
When you're pregnant and you want to be checked, there is nothing completely because of the poor or no health services completely.
Bennett people have not been able to take their children to school.
School like Yatui Community Primary School, they are not teachers, but the school has about 400 pupils.
But we in our community, Bennett, we don't have any health service for immunizing our children after delivery.
And as a result of this, these people have always remained marginalized.
The Bennett community proposes to government affirmative action to resolve boundary demarcation, permanent settlement, as well as enabling them access social services.
We don't want this issue of temporary settlements.
Government should resettle the Bennetts once and for all.
It means even the social services would be permanently, and we can plan for the future.
They should implement the consent judgment.
The government should return back the people's property, which is land.
Abraham Waiter, Robert, UBC News.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Welcome back from that short break. In more news, the government chief whip, Ruth Nankabirwa, has advised voters to differentiate the roles of members of the parliament from public servants in the delivery of services. Nankabirwa was speaking at the Women's Day celebrations for Butembo district held at Kakoro sub-county.
The government chief whip, Ruth Nankabirwa, has officiated a belated Butembo District Women's Day celebration with a call to the district leadership to embrace government's policies and programs for better service delivery.
It is better to be in that situation than continuing being under a very large district. So, if the district status has been granted, with the patience, we will see a lot more, developments in this new district. That's how we always start.
The woman member of parliament, Butembo, Amede Agnes, emphasized the unity of the district leadership to ensure quality service delivery.
We carry our cause forward as women. Women are very enterprising, women are able, and given enough facilitation, women can work as well as the men. I call upon all women, wherever they are, to rise up to the occasion, because government has given us the opportunity to participate in leadership, to participate in business, Let's all participate en masse and win and make Uganda a better place.
The resident district commissioner Butebo Ndibasa Fatuma appealed for more funding to Butebo district for sustainable development. Robert Katamba for UBC News.
Thank you, Robert Katamba, for that wonderful story. Now, at least 350 old girls from Bweranyanji Girls Secondary School in Bushenyi have converged to raise 1 billion Ugandan shillings to support the construction of the school's chapel. The money is expected to be raised in a period of 8 months. The school is well known for having nurtured the Education Minister Janet Kataha Museveni, Karoro Kurut, and many others. The chairperson of Bweranyanji Old Girls Association, Ashara Jen, spoke to UBC over the matter.
Right now, the school's chapel is small. It has got a small seating capacity, and we, as old girls, in collaboration, in conjunction with the school administration, we felt as we sit and share a meal, we need to give back to the school. Yes, before we've been giving back to the school, but for this year, our main plan is to be part of that team that we can raise funds together and form part of that, improve on that budget that the school has got. Bweranyanji Girls Secondary School, it has nurtured a number of girls, including our First Lady, the Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni, including the President, who one time taught at the school, including many important girls. It has nurtured us, and reason that we have to sit and give back to the school.
We'll take a short commercial break, and Mark Arnold will be back with a guest to discuss more in business.
Hello. Where can we find a mechanic?
That's it.
For what?
That's it.
What happened?
Finished.
You have network here.
You're not on Airtel. For us, we have Airtel 4G everywhere.
Access data anywhere on Uganda's only 100% 4G network. With you always.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Brought to you by Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Tonight here on UBC Television. We always inspire Uganda. Now I'm joined by an engineer. He's called Engineer Nsimbe Joseph from the Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers. You're very welcome, sir. How are you?
Thank you.
Yes. We want to discuss about infrastructure. What's that? I want to ask you, to what extent are Ugandan engineers interfacing with Uganda's infrastructure? Basing on the fact that we have a myriad of engineers that are coming in, so many infrastructure development projects. We're having, you know, the URA building that has just been put up, the Isimba Dam, so much is happening. But to what extent are Ugandan engineers interfacing with our infrastructure?
Well, before a piece of infrastructure is enjoyed by the end users, it goes through stages. And the first 3 stages, that is identification, planning, and procurement, are largely done by government. But all these, at all these stages of a piece of infrastructure, are engineers involved. So engineers are involved at identifying a project based on the need. Engineers are involved at the planning stage, that is at budgetary level. Engineers are involved also at procurement, so that you get the best value for money. That is now largely government's involvement in project development or infrastructure development.
Okay.
Now the other stages of infrastructure development include design, and then construction and management, and finally operation and maintenance. Now this is largely done by the private sector. And at all these stages, we have engineers involved. So all through infrastructure development, you have engineers at each of these stages.
Okay.
That's how engineers interface with infrastructure development.
I like the fact that you've talked about it's dominated by the private sector. I mean, the quality and the other aspects are all dominated by the private sector. But I want to know, I mean, Kampala has been ranked as one of the most, the fastest developing cities there in the world. But I would like to know, to what extent or what capacity do the engineers have to, you know, guarantee exponential growth of our infrastructure? What capacity do we have?
Well, number one, we'll start with government support to realize this. At the moment, we have 48 universities in the country. And with these 48 universities, 11 government and 37 private. With all these universities, we have 900 engineers being churned out every year.
900 engineers?
900 engineers churned out each year.
Under which authority?
These engineers are electrical, civil, mechanical, IT related, and all that.
Yes. But who churns out these engineers?
These engineers are churned out by the institution, the universities, as I mentioned.
Okay.
48 universities.
Okay.
All churning out these engineers. However, with engineers to practice, for engineers to practice in the country, we are regulated by government under the Engineers Registration Act of 1969. So for an engineer to practice in this country, you have to be registered by the Engineers Registration Board. And you have to belong to the Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers for you to legally practice in Uganda. So with the 900 engineers being released, then regulated by the Engineers Registration Act or Registration Board, and then we have continuous professional development. Now we have on this, we have players like Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers, we have Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers, we have Uganda National Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors. All these are to ensure that engineers are continuously professionally developed so that they can take on the infrastructure.
Engineer Nsimbe, as we draw towards the end of our simple short interview, the quality and efficiency of our infrastructure, to what extent is it guaranteeing economic development of Uganda?
The quality?
The quality and efficiency of our infrastructure.
Yes.
To what extent does it support our economy?
And now at the moment, with the, first of all, the practice is regulated. And secondly, as we already discussed, engineers are involved at all these stages. And what really stands out is value for money.
Yes, value for money. That's utmost key. You know, it's very important.
Yes, so we would say with the infrastructure taking on the biggest portion of the budget. That means engineers are the center of value for money, realizing government's intentional objective of value for money. Engineers are the center of it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So tell us about what is FIDIC and what is Gamma. I've been hearing so much about FIDIC and Gamma. What's that all about?
Now, FIDIC is an international standards organization for consulting, engineering, and construction. At the moment, 104 countries subscribe to this international organization, and Uganda is one of the 104 countries subscribing. Now, Uganda, being in Africa, falls under what we call Group of Africa Member Associations, which subscribe to FIDIC.
Okay.
Now, Uganda, again, locally, brings together consulting engineers under Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers. So you have Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers local, then you have Gamma, Group of Africa Member Associations, which is continental, then you have the international FIDIC, which is International Federation for Consulting Engineering.
And by continental, you mean Africa?
I mean Africa.
So Gamma is the representative of FIDIC as an African body?
Exactly.
Please go ahead.
Now, where FIDIC Gamma, at the moment, there are 16 countries that subscribe, that fall under Gamma.
And these are all consulting engineers?
Yes, consulting engineering associations in the 16 countries.
That's huge, that's capacity.
Thank you.
Okay,
And we have annual infrastructure conferences organized every year. To date, since Gamma inception, we've had 25 annual conferences about infrastructure in relation to economic growth. That is key, where engineers have their place in contribution to economic growth, but now in a continental sense. That is global, and continent-wise.
Okay.
So this time, it happens to be Uganda that is hosting the FIDIC Gamma conference. Okay. This is done rotationally among the 16 member countries, 16 member African countries.
Okay.
This time, Uganda happens to be hosting the FIDIC Gamma annual infrastructure conference, which is the 26th.
The 26th
yes.
of the kind?
Yes,
it's
of
annual.
the kind. It's annual.
So what's the main objective of this conference? What's going to be happening?
The main object, this conference will take place, will begin on the 12th up to the 15th of May 2019 this year, so about a month away. Now the objective of this conference is to bring together all stakeholders, infrastructure stakeholders in Africa. And these include governments, definitely these are key stakeholders. We have investors, we have contractors, we have consulting engineers, we have donors. All these are key stakeholders in as far as infrastructure development is concerned. Now the main objective here is to first of all, to bring together all these players in as far as infrastructure development is concerned. Then they will discuss infrastructure and development vis-a-vis economic growth in an African sense.
I would also like to know, what does it mean for Ugandan engineers that now that this FIDIC conference is going to be in Uganda? What does it help us?
Number one, what stands out, we are marketing our country. That's in a broad sense.
That's one.
We are marketing our country. I mean, of all the 54 countries, this year, Uganda is hosting.
Okay.
So that alone now, in a broader sense, we are marketing our country. However, in a local sense, we are networking engineers on the continental stage.
Okay.
So it will bring together different players across the continent, and by so doing, because now we take it that now we are living in a global village.
Yes.
Somehow we are all connected, and infrastructure brings us all together.
Okay.
So a Ugandan engineer would be now connected to the whole network.
Okay.
If he comes for this conference.
Okay, I think that's brilliant, and thank you very much for what you're doing. Yes, thank you very much for being a part of News Tonight. We hope that we can attend your conference and get to know what exactly you're going to be doing for our infrastructure.
Thank you very much.
Engineer Nsimbe, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, UBC.
Yes. So now we move on more with our news. Meeting standards and safety precautions by agro-input dealers is one of the ways of improving agricultural production. However, traders in Kasanda were found mixing agrochemicals and food by Agriculture Standard Agency officials and members of Uganda Agro Dealers Association. Other traders were also found selling condemned chemicals. Let's take a look at that story.
A tour of a number of agro-input dealers in Kasanda town in the new district of Kasanda is worrying. Most of the traders are not following the set guidelines. Some traders are mixing building materials like cement, food items, and motor vehicle spare parts with agrochemicals.
The biggest problem with agro-input dealers, many are not trained. They don't have the technical know-how of handling pesticides in the country.
The farmers are crying foul over adulterated inputs, which has led to losses on the farm.
Because the people selling us these whatevers, insecticides and all that, herbicides, they don't know exactly the dose. They don't know how to handle these things. They just sell to people who again don't know so. Somebody bought herbicides to go and dry under the grass, but he failed to select the right herbicide and ended up even drying the very maize. 3 acres.
Over 50 agrochemicals have been condemned by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, but in Kasanda district, these are still on shelves.
Products may be good, and they may be, some of them are genuine, but the problem is once a product is not registered, all products, all agricultural inputs that are to be used in Uganda should be registered.
The Executive Director, Uganda Agro Input Dealers Association, Chris Ibisintabio, is irked by the increasing counterfeits on the market. Chris says that government should empower them to police some of the perpetuators.
As UNADA, we are working with all stakeholders, including government, to ensure we fight this vice. Because of high demand of some of the inputs, some unscrupulous people or businessmen have come in and spoiled the business by selling fake inputs.
According to interim chairman Kasanda Agro Dealers Association, Rukundo Fitumukiza Edward, the input dealers in Uganda are making losses due to a ban on some of the chemicals.
But the challenge is that we had put our much money in buying these chemicals. And we are looking at most of our dealers have gone through loans, their creditors. So we are saying that we are requesting the Ministry of Agriculture together with the government so that they see whether they can give us grace period.
Kasanda District Production Officer Samuel Katongole and the District Assistant COW Emmanuel Sempala say that such intervention by Uganda Agro Input Dealers Association in the region is timely.
When you look at the value chain system, the input dealers are part of those value chain actors. So there is no way you can leave out to those people. You have to train them so that they give our farmers the best services which is required.
We are here as a new district to improve services, particularly in production. We want our people to develop in production. And the agro-input dealers are urged to maintain quality. The quality of inputs that they give to our farmers will mean an improvement in the production levels of our farmers.
UNADA is on a countrywide tour consisting of agro-input traders on the safe use as requirement for quality control. Abiona Francisco, UBC.
The Permanent Secretary for Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Robert Kasande, says that oil extraction in the Albertine Graben is about to begin. He was speaking at the dinner organized by Makerere University Petroleum Geology Society. The event also doubled as a fundraising dinner for sponsoring oil students to go abroad and acquire more skills. Let's take a look.
Extracting oil resources in Uganda is at its final stage. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Robert Kasande, was addressing Makerere University Geological Society members.
Presently, we are doing a lot of agreement drafting with the oil companies to agree with them on who will invest, how shall we invest. We are doing a lot of agreements on who will take what. We are also undertaking studies that will allow us to access the land where our infrastructure will be.
Kasande, however, notes that the oil sector is to employ many people, mainly those with skills.
But as I'll point out later, there are skills that you need in today's job market that go beyond the education that you've gotten, the certification that we are talking about today, that go beyond even know who.
The Directorate of Petroleum, Hani Malinga, advised petroleum students to be creative as they wait for oil extraction.
You know, when you finish university, the first thing you say, I want to get a job. When you get a job, I want to build a house. I want to buy a car. Sometimes when things don't happen, I don't get discouraged. Just be steady, get what we have got.
The Chief Operations Officer, Uganda National Oil Company, Prosenia Nabanja, said that what is currently being taught to petroleum students needs to be updated.
Now, there has been a recruitment challenge within the oil and gas industry in Uganda. Most of the training institutions in Uganda are way too far from international standards to achieve the right skill set required for the oil and gas sector. And this means that whereas students graduate, they do not have the competencies required to get recruited in the oil and gas sector. And
a Makerere University petroleum student, Kasacha Zephania, wants government to support students acquire extra skills and expertise in the oil sector.
We find that a certification goes for over $2,500 US. That's roughly 7 to 8 M Uganda shillings. So we find that it becomes very hard for a Ugandan student to afford that. So this is like just a reminder to the government and actually letting them know that we really need these certifications. Gotten an offer, we thank the ministry. They have offered to provide some certifications to some of the students.
Nelson Akaturira compiled this report.
Ndete University in Luero District has rolled out a biogas and renewable energy technology demonstration site to act as a learning center to the willing public. The site aims at safeguarding the environment and avert negative effects accruing from climate change due to poor land use. This is after reports indicate that Uganda is losing close to 300,000 hectares of vegetation cover per annum through cutting trees for wood, fuel and charcoal, plus opening land for human settlement and farming. Let's take a look.
Ndete University is one of the few institutions of higher education in Uganda located in rural areas. This has prompted the university to offer sustainable solutions to community development. Just a while ago, the university, that is located outside Luero town, showcased 5 renewable energy technologies that include solar energy, wind power, briquettes and biogas, as well as institutional cook stoves, as solutions to one-ton tree cover destruction. An advisor to the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Engineer Moses Murengezi, officiated the site's launch by Ndete University. He described it as the best way to mitigate deforestation and avoid global warming.
We need to take action as a country to support the efforts against global warming. So the work being done at Ndete is with regard to development of renewable energy technologies. You saw them with the briquettes, you saw them with the improved cook stoves, you saw them with the biogas, and now they have this laboratory for testing the biogas.
Murengezi outlined tips aimed at ensuring sustainable environment and energy for all by 2030. He hailed the practical hands-on training Ndete University accords its students and hailed the Germans for sharing environment conservation skills with Ugandans.
Now, as we move closer towards 2030, the global effort will be accelerated. So, in my view, I'm an optimist. I'm an optimistic person. I believe it will be achieved.
The Ndete University Vice Chancellor Professor Eriab Lugujo said that the renewable energy site complements the university's Energy Research and Development Center.
This is the first of its kind in the country. It is going to train students, staff will do research, but at the same time, we'll have to disseminate this information.
The GIZ Country Director Representative, Amin Kloicheka, explained that they are supporting Ndeje University to offer practical energy training to its renewable energy students by providing equipment needed to conduct practical skills training.
And I was very impressed of seeing the opportunities which exist. We need to put them into practice. And I think that's the relevance aspect of it, which I believe is extremely important.
The Renewable Energy Technologies demonstration site was set up in collaboration with the Uganda Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Alliance with support of the Energy Ministry and German Development Organization. Report compiled by Jim Kalyasubula.
Brought to you by Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
And now on the international scene, the Boeing company has said that it plans to cut its monthly 737 aircraft production by nearly 20% in the wake of 2 deadly crashes, signaling that it does not expect aviation authorities to allow the plane back in the air anytime soon. CGTN with more.
Planes are designed. Deliveries of the company's best-selling aircraft were frozen after the crash of a 737 MAX jet on March 10th in Ethiopia and the crash of a jet of the same model in Indonesia last year. Hundreds of planes of the model have been grounded worldwide. Meanwhile, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration has started an internal review on the safety of the model. The FAA said the review should last as long as 3 months and involve any country that has purchased the plane.
The spotlight on US aviation giant Boeing continues to grow in intensity. It follows publication of the preliminary report on the Ethiopian's airline crash last month that killed 157 people and a public apology from Boeing's CEO.
We at Boeing are sorry for the lives lost in the recent 737 MAX accidents.
The early investigation suggests Ethiopian airline pilots followed Boeing's emergency instructions, but were still unable to stop the plane's nose from repeatedly pointing downward. For Boeing, that poses more difficult questions. The 737 MAX is the company's fastest-selling plane, with some 5,000 ordered from airlines around the world. But the entire fleet is currently grounded. Although Boeing remains confident it can fix software issues linked to the Ethiopian crash, as well as the Lion Air crash in Indonesia last October, it is uncertain when the planes will be allowed to fly again.
So they've had 2 crashes now. The Lion Air crash was last fall, and a lot of the things that they're doing now, they probably should have done then. So they're having to make up a lot of time now to fix some of the stumbling and fumbling that went on.
The pressure continues to mount for Boeing. The company could now be left liable for huge payouts to both victims and airlines, with the first of many expected lawsuits already filed in the US. The family of American Samya Stumo appeared at a news conference on Thursday. Samya was among those killed in the Ethiopian Airlines crash.
I would certainly expect there will be many other claims. Clifford Law Offices has certainly been contacted by the families of victims from around the world, and we certainly expect to file other lawsuits.
The full investigation into the Ethiopian crash could take upwards of a year to complete. In the meantime, more and more questions continue to be asked of Boeing. The pressure is on the company to find the answers.
The Uganda Sports Press Association has, at its belated 2018 Awards Gala, crowned the best individual sports athletes and culminated with the overall Sports Personality Award. The colourful ceremony at the Imperial Royal Hotel in Kampala was attended by the nation's top sports personalities and administrators, including Minister Frank Tumwebaze. Ultimately, when all the individual sports disciplines were crowned, all the time the people were waiting for the winner, Joshua Cheptegei, who mainly for his double gold medals at the Commonwealth is the USPA Sports Personality for 2018. Let's take a look at that story.
The Sports Personality of the year 2018 is none other than Joshua Cheptegei. Joshua Cheptegei once again.
Joshua Cheptegei has been named the 2018 USPA Sports Personality of the Year. This was during a belated awards gala hosted at Imperial Royal Hotel in Kampala, graced by ICT Minister Frank Tumwebaze.
Joshua Cheptegei is the Sports Personality of the year 2018.
Cheptegei's choice was largely for his achievement at the Commonwealth Games, where he won double gold in the 5,000 and 10,000 meters.
My word just for this evening is that when you go through the ups and downs, remember there is a light that will always resurrect. And the last is that the chief guest had said, ladies and gentlemen, a running world, a sporting world is a healthy world. A running world is a peaceful world. Ladies and gentlemen, let us embrace sports.
At the occasion, all individual sports best performers were rewarded. In other select awards, rugby player Philip Okorach was the fans' best, while tennis legend John Oduke took the legendary award. John Barnes, Central, reporting.
The Uganda national women's football team Crested Cranes' dream of participating in the CAF Women's Tournament in Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games has been stopped by Ethiopia, having lost 1-0 in a game played at StarTimes Stadium in Lugogo. Ethiopia's Loza Abera strike in the 68th minute of the clash gave the visitors an upper hand in the competition. Uganda lost to Ethiopia on away 3-2, and they needed to have a goal to excel to the next round of the game. However, this did not go as planned after Crested Cranes conceded and Ethiopia won a tie on a 4-2 goal difference, whereby they meet Cameroon in the next clash. Farida Bulenga, Crested Cranes head coach, attributes the loss to lack of assertiveness by her players in the defense, as she explains.
We failed to concentrate on the final third. We got the opportunity to score, but things didn't go our way. So Ethiopia used their chance. There are some small mistakes we made, and we failed to make it. It's got 90 minutes. I can't be specific this and this, and we failed also to defend. If I defended good, maybe it will be another way round. But what I can say, the opponents have been good, and Uganda is a promising team. I think in the future we shall make it.
The game is very tough. በጣም ከባድ ጨዋታ ነበረ።
tough game.
በሁለቱ የደርሶ መልስ ጨዋታ ግን ያው የሁለተኛውን ጨዋታ እንዳየነው በጣም ከባድ ቢሆንም ከዛ ስንመጣ አሸንፈን ለመምጣት እንደመሆኑ መጣን ያው ጨዋታውን አሸንፈናል።
When we see both games, the first leg and the second leg was much harder, and when we come to Uganda, we promised that we can win and qualify to the next stage.
Well, there's always a next time to win a game like that. Now, in more sports news, Uganda has joined the rest of the world to mark the International Day of Sport for Development and Peace. This day was sanctioned after a United Nations session on August 23, 2013. Details follow.
On many occasions, sport is used to solve many social ills, especially conflict. A case in point was in Ivory Coast a few years ago, when a footballer and global icon Didier Drogba was included on a mediation team to end strife.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
This inaugural celebration of sport as a development and peace factor in Uganda has been hosted at Uganda Olympic Committee with the hope that federations are using it fruitfully by emphasizing the top values of sports like fair play. The day mostly targets our school-going children who are tutored on the values of the sports component in education.
It's a day for us to take stock of what we as sports federations and people in sports have done towards bringing peace to our communities, peace to our families. When I talk about families, it's not the family of sports. Sports can bring peace to your own family even if you're not sports person. It can bring peace within a community. We can use sports to develop ourselves. We use sports to mobilize young people for development purposes. And I think we as the member federations, we have one target of using sports to develop the talents of sportsmen to international level to bring medals.
With the day now officially marked on its calendar, Uganda Olympic Committee tasks its federations to attract students into sport to help improve their health. The inaugural International Day of Sports for Development and Peace in Uganda attracted various federations including shooting, athletics and swimming. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
Uganda National Volleyball League champions Nemo Stars have continued to shine at the Africa Men's Club Championship in Egypt. Playing at the 5th championship, Nemo Stars shine brighter by the day and have today eclipsed all to top Group D at Africa's Premier Volleyball Clubs Championship. Details follow.
Uganda's representatives at the Africa Clubs Volleyball Championship, Nemo Stars, can't stop winning. Victory over Libya's Asaria Volleyball Club has secured the Ugandans a 5th win that places them atop Group D. Joy within the camp is unconfined, and not only because of being the first Ugandan team to win 5 games and seal a quarter-final berth, but also the fact that they avoid playing reigning champion Egyptian side Al Ahly in the quarters.
This is a historic moment for us, for Nemo Stars and for Uganda, and we are proud to be the team that has first done that. We hope that we push on till the very end, and the team is happy. We are proud to be Uganda, and we are proud to be you guys.
What is your feeling that now you're sure you can't meet Al Ahly?
I mean, anyone would not want to meet Ahly before the final. For us, we are very excited. We have avoided him. Now we have more energy to fight against the...
By news time, a word reaching us from Egypt was that Nemo Stars is likely to face another Al Ahly, but that from Libya. Uganda had 2 teams in the tournament, where the first-timers at Uganda Christian University stopping at the group stage. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
Uganda Cricket Association is hosting a Women's Tri-Nation Series involving hosts Kenya and Zimbabwe. The tournament has started at the Lugogo Oval and will climax on Wednesday. We'll take a look.
Uganda Lady Cricket team has started the Tri-Nation Series at Lugogo Cricket Oval on a winning note against Kenya. This tournament aims at preparing Uganda ahead of international engagements later this year.
The ladies cricket team will be traveling to Zimbabwe next month to feature in the ICC World T20 qualifiers for Africa. As you may know, Uganda are the defending champions of this tournament here, so we thought that before the ladies can go into this tournament here, they should have a build-up.
The Ugandan girls batted first and scored 110 all out in 18.3 overs during an innings that Konsi Aweko was the star girl.
First of all, we struggled to get to the 110 that we scored in the first innings. I think we are a bit not very responsible with our wickets. I think some players threw away their wickets, but that is the main reason why we have such tournaments.
During the second innings, a great fielding experience reduced the Kenyans to just 76 runs all out to hand Uganda a 34 runs victory. In the first game of the day, Zimbabwe secured a 7-wicket victory over Kenya. The series continue on Sunday with Uganda in action twice, first against Kenya and then Zimbabwe. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Well, that brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 10 p.m. Mark Arnold.
Yes.
What do you think about the story where we discussed about where it was about women in fishing?
Women in fishing, I mean, the women are forming a circle for women fishers, and I think the tables are turning. These days, I think women are not taking it just slightly to say that, okay, these are men jobs or female jobs, or you know, and I'm appreciative of that. I mean, I even see female conductors these days, so
yes.
So I think that's good. What do you think?
I think it's a unique one, given that the whole industry is actually dominated by men. It's different for men. I was actually astounded at the fact that women are willing to go this extra mile, go through all the troubles that come with the waters and all that, to make sure that they earn and make a living, take care of their families as well. So that's amazing.
That's amazing. That's really amazing.
Thank you so much for watching UBC News tonight. Before we sign out, we'll take a look at the headlines. Museveni educates UPDF on NRA principles.
SACCO to help teachers start business.
Boeing cuts 737 MAX output in wake of 2 deadly crashes.
And in sports, Joshua Cheptegei named the 2018 USPA Sports Personality.
Thank you so much for watching UBC News tonight. My name is Sharon Chamjashe.
And I'm Wadulo Mark Arnold.
And Nakakoni Elizabeth on sign language. From the team and I, have a good night.